Hi, everybody. It's Maria Patrick here with the Wishing You Well podcast. Thank you so very much for joining me today. I am always on the lookout for ways in which we can improve our health and well being so we can live longer, stronger, healthier, and better lives, our best lives. This week, together, we're going to unpack why having a hobby or two or three is great for your health because it provides both mental and physical benefits. I started thinking about this issue after hearing the news this week that Joann's Fabrics is closing all 800 of its stores in the United States. Joann Fabrics has been in business for over 80 years. It was founded during World War II, and for many years, it was the largest retailer of craft and hobby supplies. Since we all started doing more crafts and DIY projects during the lockdown of the pandemic, I was truly shocked to hear how Joann's sales have plummeted in recent years and that they have been unable to pay the majority of their suppliers, which is ultimately what led them to filing for Chapter 11 bankruptcy, not once, but twice. And they cited increasingly declining sales as the reason for doing so. One of the things that I regularly do is to read books about longevity and wellness. I'm sure have come to know that by now. Comes as no surprise to you, my listeners. I've always got one or more health books on my bedside table or right next to my desk in my office so that I can easily do research for this podcast as well as for my clients and my students. The importance of having a hobby comes up time and time again in my research because of the many health benefits. We will dive into these a little later. The timing of the Joann's announcement was interesting to me because it coincided with a new study that was the results of which were released on February 9th in the journal Frontiers in Psychology. A group of researchers followed 500 participants during the second wave of the COVID-19 pandemic in 2021, and they found that the people who had greater optimism, stronger coping skills, and overall were more positive were the ones that were involved in activities, particularly playful ones, according to the researchers. And that even though they were facing the same strife and fears and uncertainties and vulnerabilities as the rest of us, the group that was playfully active fared much better. Apparently, adults who are engaged in highly playful activities like hobbies are more positive about the future and more resilient in the face of challenges. This is because the part of the brain which is involved in behavioral and emotional responses gets activated, which means that your brain stem opens up to new connections and increased stimulation, which provides critical nourishment for the brain. CNN posted an article on their website earlier this week, so special shout out to Juliana Bragg, who was the author of the article. She quotes Dr. Ramani Durfasula, a licensed clinical psychologist and professor emeritus of psychology at California State University. She said that when we reconnect with our childhood hobbies, that is the way in which we can be more playful, and that doing so can be valuable for people at whatever stage of life that we're in. Whether we are newly retired and trying to figure out what to do with our free time, whether you're coping with something catastrophic that happened to you, some type of loss that you're grieving, or you simply want to add more intentional activities into your schedule. Dr. Durvasala said something that will probably come as no surprise to you. Because we're spending so much time on our devices, we are far less likely to be engaged in the non-electronic hobbies that we once found so engaging and entertaining, and that brought us joy. The same article also quoted Dr. Stuart Brown, who is a 92-year-old psychiatrist and founder of the National Institute for Play, who said that if you want to add more whimsy to your daily routine, you should consider hobbies that align with your play personality, which means we should be focusing on the things that we enjoy doing or the things that we think will bring us joy and entertainment, and make an effort to incorporate doing them into our daily lives. We are strongly encouraged by these experts to think about a childhood hobby that we once loved, but that we left behind as life got busier and we grew up and we embraced adulthood. So start thinking about it. What were you into when you were a child? Was it kickball or softball? Maybe it's time to start a neighborhood game. Were you a regular at karaoke in high school or college? It's not too late to revisit your rock star dreams and grab the microphone somewhere. When I was in high school, I used to host a weekly game night with my friends. Those board games that are sitting on my shelves now can be put to good use again if I decide to invite a few people over to play. No matter what it is that calls to us, there's a reason that we feel drawn to these childhood activities. The fact that we associate them with some type of inner joy and fun and playfulness. And it's that playfulness that has surprising benefits for our health. I know what you're possibly thinking right now, that you just don't have time for a hobby. But when you hear the health benefits, you may find yourself flipping the script and saying that you don't have time to not take up a hobby. So here we go. Some of the key reasons why hobbies are good for your health. Number one, stress reduction. Engaging in a hobby can help you lower your cortisol levels, which can reduce your stress and promote relaxation. Number two, hobbies can boost your mental health. When we do activities like knitting, crocheting, painting, playing an instrument, not only can we improve our mood, but we can help reduce symptoms of anxiety and depression, leading to overall stronger, better, boosted mental health. Number three, having a hobby can enhance your brain function. We've talked about this before. When we learn new skills, we're stimulating the brain, which helps to improve our memory and our cognitive function. And when we make that a regular practice, we can help ourselves to prevent cognition problems later, prevent cognitive decline. Number four, a hobby can promote your physical health, especially when you pick up something that's an active hobby like hiking or dancing or swimming. Will be improving cardiovascular health as well as our strength and our flexibility. Number five, having a hobby and practicing it regularly can encourage your social connections. And we've heard from the longest living people in the world, the people who live in the blue zones, that it's social connections is such a big part of their health and longevity. Many hobbies require us joining a club or a team, and when we do so, we're helping to build relationships, reduce our feelings of loneliness, which in the United States has been declared at epidemic proportions, and we are encouraging ourselves or building into our schedule regular social contacts. Number six, having a hobby and making it part of regular life will increase your productivity and creativity. That's because hobbies provide us an outlet that our electronic devices do not. They provide us a way to be creative and problem solve, and in doing so, we're going to enhance our overall productivity in other areas of our lives. Number seven, and this is probably not the last of all the many, many health benefits of having a hobby, but this is the last one we'll talk about today, which is having a hobby supports giving you a sense of purpose in your life. It gives you a reason to wake up in the morning, something to be excited about, something to look forward to, which can end up boosting your not only your motivation and your enjoyment, but your overall life satisfaction. So it's time for us to think about what hobbies that we enjoy. Does anything come to mind that perhaps you used to enjoy doing or that you've been wishing that you could do? For me, I didn't really have any creative or physical hobbies when I was growing up. I was too busy with schoolwork. I was very involved in a lot of things at school, but it was things like student government and leadership. I had a lot of chores growing up. I worked a lot of part time jobs. And of course, as I said earlier, had that weekly Trivial Pursuit game. I started babysitting at what seems now to be such a young age. I believe I was 9 years old. And then towards the end of junior high, the beginning of high school, I started my own business. Had a partner, a classmate of mine, and we waitressed at private parties. So had a lot of things back then that I wanted to learn to do that I didn't at the time, so that when I became an adult, I committed myself to learning to do the things I always wanted to do, like play tennis and golf and crochet and knit and do stamping and scrapbooking and cooking and making wreaths, all of which I've done and enjoyed and continue to make time for. And just this year, I have started taking saxophone lessons because it's something that I've always wanted to do. And I decided, if not now, then when? At this point, I'm only 2 months into it. It doesn't exactly bring me joy and entertainment. It's still quite new to me. It's what I consider a large learning curve. Not only getting familiar with the instrument itself and learning the notes, but reading sheet music and doing scales, all of it. But I am happy to say that I recently graduated from being able to only play Mary Had a Little Lamb and Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star to now I'm doing the Rocky theme song regularly, as well as Amazing Grace and Chariots of Fire. It's only been 7 lessons in 2 months, so I have to say I am pleasantly surprised with my baby steps of progress and that I haven't given up. And like the aforementioned benefits, it's something that I look forward to. I've built it into my day. It gets me out to meet regularly with my instructor, who happens to be a mahjong partner of mine as well. So there's a social aspect to it. So I'm already feeling and reaping the benefits, and it's certainly challenging for my brain. How do you take the first step when you start a new hobby? For me, I did a lot of research on saxophones. I ended up buying mine pre-loved, as they say, on eBay. Got myself a really good deal. Started watching a lot of YouTube videos. And that for me is key. And I think it could be key for all of us. The fact that we can easily begin a hobby, a new hobby, or take up an old hobby in the comfort and privacy of our homes. I think that can go a long way in helping us to ease any discomfort or insecurity or worries that we may have. You could basically learn how to do anything from YouTube. And we know that TikTok, while it's still up and running, has been a huge help in helping people who want to learn how to do things like cook and dance. So you can do a YouTube tutorial before you even consider taking a beginner's class of something. And as I said, I've been watching video upon video of how to improve myself on the saxophone. If you do it this way, the way I've done it, you'll start to feel more comfortable. You'll figure out exactly what interests and inspires you. It'll cost you nothing. And then you can take the leap, make an investment, carve out some time, and hopefully get the hobby to be something that you're doing on a regular basis. You'll watch your confidence grow. And you too can make it something very social and interesting and inspiring and entertaining, particularly if it's something where you're taking classes with friends or joining a community group that regularly practices your hobby. The professionals say that the most important thing we need to do is to focus on setting realistic expectations and not trying to do too much too soon or to be perfect. We just need to embrace our inner child and focus on having a good time doing what we're doing. So your sourdough bread might not look like something that can be sold in a bakery. And I know with 100% certainty that I'm not going to be sounding like Kenny G on my saxophone anytime soon. But just the act of doing a hobby will bring you stress relief, personal enjoyment, and a boost to your mental and emotional health. My recommendation is to build time for your hobbies into your schedule, to make it like you're booking an appointment with yourself. So I've built in my practice time, for instance, every day into my schedule. It's worked around the classes that I teach and the clients whom I meet with. You can book an appointment with yourself to start painting, to learn some new dance moves, to dust off your knitting needles or get out those scraps of yarn. Just start doing something, making something. If you keep the materials that are needed for your hobbies easily accessible, you'll be more likely to reach for them when you have a little time or when you're feeling bored, looking to be inspired. Dr. Dervasula says that in order to actually make the time, we should integrate these activities into our daily life, and we should put the supplies in a space where we tend to unwind, such as near your couch. So instead of being tempted to go doom scrolling on your phone or watch hours upon hours of TV, you'll have your supplies right there as a reminder to get started. Or better yet, you can stack your hobby with something else, pair it with another activity of yours, such as listening to a podcast or music or watching a favorite television program while you're doing your hobby. Make it even more rewarding and enjoyable. She says that if you're struggling to get started, you should invite a friend to join you. And that if you're a parent or a grandparent, try to share your hobby, whether it's new or something that you're dusting off, with a child, and that will create bonding time between you and your child or your grandchild. The bottom line is this, that like anything else that is good for our health, we have to make it a priority. So we should be regularly asking ourselves, how am I going to play today? I want to hear about all of your favorite childhood hobbies and how you'll be bringing them back into your life. Or perhaps you'll be like me and trying something new. Whatever it will be, I'd love to hear about it. Please tell me in the comments. And let's all get started. Let's make time to play. As I said to myself, there is no day but today to get started. Thank you for joining me today. I hope in the middle of your very busy life, you make time for what will improve your health and your well-being. And until we meet again, I am, as always, wishing you well.